started, I'll just welcome everyone to our Thursday 30, and also especially to Swapnil from Therapy Box, who's delivering the session this afternoon. So just to remind everyone to keep their microphones muted, and if they want to turn their cameras off. I'll keep an eye on the chat if anyone wants to post any questions, or Swapnil, not sure, do you want to take questions at the end, or?
Yeah, I mean, all the attendees could sort of ask questions in chat, and I think Catherine, yourself, or Annabelle can just sort of collate them and then pitch them towards the end, or as we go along if it's particularly important. So I can just get some of the key message out with the presentation, which I've got first, and then I'll move to demo, which can be very interactive. So we can pose questions at any time. Please give me a shout.
Okay, so I'll just remind the people who have joined just to keep your microphones off, muted, and cameras. You can turn your cameras off maybe for the presentation. Thanks very much, and thanks, Swapnil. I'll hand over to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and hello everybody. My name is Swapnil. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Therapy Box, and we have built an app called Seen and Heard. And Seen and Heard is a visual scene display approach to communication. So some of you may be familiar with Seen and Heard already. Others may not be so familiar. So for those who aren't as close to it, it is a photo-based approach to communication. So you essentially take a photo of the environment that you or the client is likely to be in. You pick an area that might be of interest, and you create what we call a outline or a hotspot. And then you activate that hotspot. So you activate it by allocating a audio recording to it, or you could allocate a video to it, or you could allocate a load of other multimedia content to it. So when the user taps on that primed hotspot, then it would play back the action that's recorded behind that particular hotspot. So it could be, this little boy washing his hands, and you could activate that, and you could say, oh, that's how you wash your hands. Or if this man is shopping, you could create a hotspot around him and then talk about, that's my dad. He's at the local shop, probably buying some fish because he likes to cook fish, or whatever you feel might be of interest in that particular picture. The real strength of Seen and Heard and visual scene display in general as well is how personalized it could be. So I'm going to show you a lot of content that we've made available, but that's just more for inspiration. So you can just make content specifically for your school, for your class, the class teacher, the kids, or something that is very recognizable for the client in question as well. And that's where it becomes quite powerful. Okay, so you pick a photo, you highlight the areas that are of interest, and then you bring up this particular window, which allows you to add in what we call voice output. So you've got two options there. You can use simple text-to-speech. I gave an example of recording that is also available, so you could choose either or. And then you've got the option of video, as we spoke about. But just before we run through some of those, bear in mind, because it has got the ability to play back recorded audio, it effectively makes it language independent. So if you've got a caseload that is bilingual or doesn't speak English and prefers to speak another language, then this is particularly effective because it relies on photos that you've taken of that person's environment and then the language they speak with as well. So that is a key message to take away. Now, what we know about using VSTs, my apologies that there is a little bit of difficulty seeing this particular slide, but we have worked with two researchers. Some of you may have heard their names. They are very well-known entities in the world of visual scene display, Janice Light and David McNaughton. So they've been developing the ideas of visual scene display for the past sort of 30 years or so. And we worked with them and the Penn State team as well. So lots of research. Dr. David Buchanan has also done quite a lot of research in US about this, and when he had published some of the work, which is also incorporated into it. So the app is built in constant conjunction with the Penn State team. But what we've done is we've particularly taken their research outcomes from the past sort of 5 or so years, and that's allowed us to build in some of the newer findings that they've got. And some of those are, we all are familiar with image-based visual scenes. So like this, where there's a photo is static, but some of the newer research that they've done is to sort of see the viability of having a moving image, so a short video, and how much more powerful that could be if you are going to use that for communication purposes. So we've adopted that, and now we are offering not just image-based visual scene display, but also a video scene display. And I'll show you that in a sec as well. So the other thing that we have also adopted is called transition to literacy. So this is really at the juncture of clients when they are starting to communicate, but they are also at school, so they need to start learning the language formally as well. And we wanted to bring an element of literacy in the app as well. So again, the Penn State had done some work to understand how that might be possible. So they've got a particular methodology that they had proposed, which was to have what they call a transition to literacy. So we adopted both of those, which I will also show you. Now, potential benefits of visual scene. There's a quick setup and use. So the whole sort of attractiveness about visual scenes is twofold. One, it is particularly visually appealing because it's photo-based. So clients tend to respond to it because it's quite recognizable, but also quite rich in the experience. And the second thing is really simple. And there is a reason why it is made to be as simple as it can be, because based on the findings of the research, it was noted that if you get the clients involved in making the content to a certain degree, they are more likely to adopt the app and use it for communication, and essentially getting us to the end goal of better communication. So we wanted to make an app that it was possible for some, if not all users, to participate, if not completely build the content themselves, at least be participating in that content making. So that is the reason why it needed to be really simple. And we've got elements that you can see are particularly simple for that reason. Of course, I would say that it's very intuitive and visually appealing. And it provides high level of contextual information visually, which is the premise of the visual scene displays. Now, it can promote, and it may support receptive language as well. It is highly personalizable, and we'll see that when we start doing the app together as well. And then I talked a little bit about how it needed to be very, very simple, but on the spot at the same time. So meaning when you are in a classroom and you've got a topic that you're discussing with the kids, you can very quickly work up a scene and get them involved in recording it as well. So you could do it just in time. So when you're talking about a subject, you can actually create a scene to illustrate what you just explained to them. And that scene becomes much more powerful because it's very contextually aware of what's just happened in the class in terms of discussion. Okay, video scenes, VSCs, we talked about that a little bit. They capture spatial and temporal context of activities and communication. So what you essentially do is you take a video and then you pause at moments of interest. So imagine if you are taking a video of somebody brushing their teeth. You pick up the toothbrush and then you can pause the video and you can say, bring your toothbrush. And then when they've got to that stage, you resume and it goes to the next stage, which is now pick up the toothpaste and put the toothpaste on your toothbrush. And then you pause again. And that's your second scene. So it tells individuals a very simple journey, but in a visual format, that's in a sort of a motion format, but also breaks it down into the key junctures of what's happening within that particular activity. And that allows for quite a immersive experience, but also quite a learning rich experience. So they would get a lot out of it rather than having a static image. That's quite a powerful way of teaching and educating, and that is based on some of the research that has come out in the past sort of 10 or so years. We talked about transcendental literacy, albeit we also offer grids. So it will be a really nice sort of a juncture where you could sort of start with visual scenes, because that's probably the most sort of simplest stage for kids to begin their communication journey. And once they've sort of mastered the visual scenes, they might start to move towards a grid-based system. And if they do, then you might form a grid with photos to begin with. And then we also offer about 3,500 symbols that are built in at no extra cost. And you can use those symbols as well to then start moving towards a symbol-based grid system as well, which we offer within Scene and Heard. So it's not just limited to scenes, it also sort of progresses you along the path and well and truly gets you communicating. The other tools that we've got are visual timetable. So here you can have a schedule, as you can see, from Monday to Sunday. You can customize it as well, and you can add different scenes at different times of day. You can have communication books. So for those who would like a low text solution, you can take all the scenes that you made, pick a few, and you create a hard book out of it. So you can export this as a PDF and just simply print them out and hand them out as you would like. So that's a little bit of a walkthrough in presentation format, but I would like to now move to Seen and Heard here. So I've got Seen and Heard, which I'm sharing now, which you would be able to see on my iPad. So I'm going to show you right from the beginning. So when I am on my iPad, you can see that that's essentially the logo of Seen and Heard. I can tap on it. It fires up this window. On the left, you can see there are folders. And on the right, you can see there are scenes within the folder. So you can have as many folders as you like. And then within each folder, you will have a load of scenes that you like. If you don't want this left panel, you can simply retract it, or you can bring it up so that you can actually see the left panel. So you can see your library, or you can push that library out of view as well. Okay, it is really simple, or at least that was the promise I made, that it is really simple. So I'm going to show you how simple it is. Please do bear in mind that I'm sharing my screen, so you may not hear the audio that will come out of the iPad because I've connected that device. So that is one thing to bear in mind. It's not it's not that the app doesn't speak. It's just that the sharing that we're doing now won't work. Okay, I will give it a name. So I'll give it my name. So this is, I'm creating a new scene. So I give my scene a name, and I can choose to make it a image scene, or I could make it a video scene, or I could make it a grid as well. So I'll start with the first, which is image scene. Now I can take a photo. So I'll quickly take a photo here. I'll give my camera permission. So I've got an interesting object. So once I've created that, I can now simply draw over that image. And then I tap, and now all I have to do is record. So if I just wanted to record, I can simply tap here. Oh, I'm sorry, because I'm sharing, I can't record here, but you tap and you record here, and then you can actually create the recording. If I want, I can also type in my text here, which will then play back the text. If I wasn't sharing, this would play back lamp in a synthetic voice, so text to speech. I can just simply save it, and that's as simple as that. So now that scene is ready. I can do whatever I like with the scene, so I can play it anytime. So it takes less than 30 seconds to actually create a scene. I have just created one hotspot, but I could create a number of hotspots if I wanted to over here. So that's as simple as making a scene. I can very quickly show you how the video scene works. So you can see that I've got some samples here. So here I've got a grid view. I can show you that this is, yeah, I've got a bunch of different areas, so I can have more than one hotspot as well. So I created in the previous scene that I just created, there was only one hotspot. I can create multiple hotspots here, as you can see. I can create two here, and I can allocate audio recordings as well. I'll show you how you can change them visually as well. So if I go into general, some of these settings here will help you understand how the scene could be adopted as well. So I can choose any voice in any language. So we support all the languages that are available on device. So at the moment, there are, I think, over 28 different languages that we are supporting. So you can choose any language. Currently, I'm using English, so you can choose any voice within that language. So if you're not choosing recording, you can choose a text-to-speech voice instead in any language of your choice. For hotspot, we had a dotted line. That's because we had chosen this. I could say solid, and I could now change that to maybe a blue. And if I do that, you can see the effect that it has on the hotspots. So besides that customization, I can also choose to fade out a hotspot, or I could hide it altogether. I could give it a solid line or dotted line. We talked about that. You can show a hotspot label, or you can choose to hide a hotspot label as well. Now, transition to literacy, I'll show you that in one example first, before I show you the setting itself. One other thing, we get these questions all the time on, there are some clients who get a bit distracted by all the options on screen. So can we reduce some of the options on screen? So I'm talking about these options right at the top. So this is the edit button, that is my visual timetable, that's my communication book, and these are my settings. Can I turn them off and keep them in just one area? You can absolutely do that. If you go into settings, you can then disable books, so you can see now that I don't have books available in this menu anymore, and that's because I've just disabled that particular feature. So you can do that. Any content you create, either in this app or somewhere else on another device, you can share between two. So you export any either one or more scenes out of the iPad I'm sharing now, but you can also import a existing scene. So if you've got a teacher that's created a few scenes that you wanted to share with a parent, you could send them an email with your scenes, and then they will be able to import that into their own scene and heard if they had it. And they'll be able to see maybe how their child's day was at school, or maybe they could create a scene about their holiday, and then they could send it to the teacher to then show it to the rest of the class on how their holiday was. So if you ever wanted to share content, that is possible with the import-export feature. That's a little bit about the research. So if you have access to the app, you can read all the literature that's gone behind the decisions that we made when we were making the app as such. And that's broadly sort of broken down into the visual scene displays for photos, visual scene displays for video, and then the literacy feature as well. And that tells you a little bit about the credits. I will show you very quickly the transition to literacy feature. So if I tap here, you would see that it would say per or per, pop. Now that's to really drill down on the individual sort of sounds of the word, and then it plays back the whole word as well. And you can actually record that yourself when you're creating a scene. So if I quickly show you a example, we'll go in. So I could go in here. I could edit this. So by the way, I can edit any existing scene as well. So if I go in here, I go into additional, I go into here, and I'll say mum, and I could record mum, and I could save, and there we go. So if the recording was to play, it would play now, say mum. And if I go and add the other form of transition to literacy, which is the decoding form, I could give that more information. So I would give it ma. So I'm giving it recordings for the individual sounds. And then once that's available, I can actually um, now it won't let me save because I can't record because of the sharing that I'm doing now. But once I've got this set up, then it would actually play the mum together in that particular scene. So it allows you to do the transition to literacy in a very quick and easy format. Let's talk a little bit about video VSTs as well. So I'll play this one. So there's a young man working in a garden center, and then you can see there are two scenes at the bottom over here. And as it reaches the scene, it pauses. When it pauses, I can now play the content that's behind it. So at the moment, it is talking a little bit about how he's working at the garden shop. When you've done that particular bit and you're happy to progress forward, you play the button here again, and then it will proceed for the remaining part of the video as well. There happens to be one more scene, so it's now going to pause at one more scene, and then at this point, the young man might be explaining the steps he takes on counting all the stock that he has in the garden center. So he's noting that down and he's explaining how that process works. And then you can carry on playing it and then play rest of the video as well. So you could break down steps of anything that you want to teach or anything you want to explain, the user wants to explain to others, or you want the client to have with them when they are undertaking a certain activity. So that's where it'll become quite effective in terms of visual scene displays. The one area the research has indicated that it really helps is following a certain stepped approach, either in school, but particularly for young people who are looking to join workforce. So that's where it's been quite effective as well. So that's a little bit about visual scene displays. I'll quickly show an example of how you can make a video VST as well. So I will call that a video VST. So you can give it a name. You can pause. You can give it a, I'm going to video. So I'm going to take a short video. So it started recording a video. I'm afraid I'm not going to create anything interesting here in this video. So you would have to bear with me. But that's a video I've taken. Now I can play the video. So I thought, okay, this is a good juncture. I can add a scene here. So I will then tap on this button here, which is called plus scene. And I'll give it a title. So I'll call it lamp. And then I can now, that's the lamp. I can save it. I can move forward. And then now I can choose to add another scene. And I could call it cable. And I've saved that. I'll call it cable. And I can save that. And just one thing to bear in mind, I have just done recording, but you could of course go in and you can add a video instead. You can also do the transition to literacy that we just talked about, or you could link this to another scene as well. So you can have a bunch of scenes in either image scene or a video scene. You can always connect one to the other. So you could create a chain. So you could say, let me tell you more about my family, and you got, mom, dad, and a sister, and then you can tap on dad, and then it connects to a new scene which is just about dad, and then it sort of connects the family image VST to a different image scene just for dad. So you can connect the two together as well. And of course, you can give it a label as well. And once that's done, you can simply stop editing mode, and you go back into your playback mode, and that essentially allows you to get back to the video. So it tells us the lamp, This is the first scene that we created. There it gives us the first scene, and then you can go on to the other scene as well. So that's a little bit about the video scene displays. We've covered off transition to literacy. The one thing I would sort of finish off with is the ability for it to be multilingual. So we've got one scene here which is in Hindi, another one which is in French, and another one which is in Spanish. But it really is down to the content creator on for them to decide which language they would like to use, because they can record over it. So in summary, I think visual scene display is extremely powerful because it's visually appealing. It is very simple to use. It can be just picked up, and participants or the users could also participate in the content creation, which helps with the adoption of it. It is research-based with the Penn State University. And we have got image-based visual scenes, but also a video-based image scene. And then it also helps with the literacy aspect of learning while you're in school. So communication and literacy both are a good target areas for Seen and Heard Pro. Seen and Heard Pro is available on iPad platform as well as on Android platform. On iPads, you got two options. You can get a monthly subscription. It comes with 30-day free trial. You can also get a 30-day free trial with a yearly subscription, or you could get a 3-year subscription. So 3 types of subscriptions: monthly, yearly, or 3 yearly. Besides that, there is a version of the app which allows you a lifetime option as well. So if you would like to just buy it up front, that is also possible to do. So those are the 2 different apps available on iOS, one with subscriptions. There are 3 types of subscriptions. One's are paid up front, meaning you just paid once and then you don't have to pay again, and you will get all upgrades no matter which way you get Seen and Heard. So we will continue to develop it further, and it will help you carry on using it and get the benefits of all the upgrades that we do. On Android, there is one app which is paid upfront, so you pay once and then you don't have to pay again, and that is available on tablets for Android platform. On iOS, I should mention, it is also available on phones. So iPhone and iPad is compatible. On Android side, tablets are compatible. The apps are available now on the App Store. So if you would want, you can sign up to a free subscription. Free as in there's a trial period of 30-day free. So you can sign up to that. And then after that, it will be paid for £5 a month as well. So that's probably the easiest way to get access to it. If you have any questions, then you can contact us at support@therapy-box.co.uk. That is listed here, or that's our website, therapy-box.co.uk as well. I am mindful of time, so I'm going to pause at this point and then hand back to Annabelle.
Thanks very much, Swapnil, for that demonstration. I think Seen and Heard is a fantastic app, and I really like that you've added the literacy side of things into it. Yeah, I was saying this morning I used to use it quite a long time ago, and I used to use it for a child to help transition around the school. So we had photos of the room the child was going to with the teacher there saying, hi, you know, you're going to come and see me now, and someone who struggled to move from room to room. So it was really useful. We actually had a question. But someone, I don't know if Sinead's on the call or not, or Claire. Can you remember what Sinead was trying to do the other day? Claire's there. She may not.
I don't think Sinead's on the call.
I think she was trying to change a hotspot, wasn't she?
She changed it, but I think she was trying to add a symbol into the hotspot. But we couldn't. Yeah, symbol. They were sitting at the bottom, and we were trying to add it into the hotspot. Is that?
So I think you might have access to Seen and Heard rather than Seen and Heard Pro. Is that?
I'd have to check.
Okay. But Seen and Heard Pro, I should have shown, but I've sort of run out of time. But it's got about 3,500 symbols, so it's a much larger library available as well for you to use. And you can place the symbols, in the grid format or wherever you would like. So it's got quite a lot of flexibility as well. But
so
I'm
would
happy
the
to.
old version only put them at the bottom of the screen?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
might be why. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And we didn't go through the grid layout, but the grid layout also allows you to actually create exactly what it says. You can pick a symbol, put that in the 3x3 grid, and you can use any symbols any way you would like. So you could put a combination of photos and symbols as well, if you prefer a grid form.
Yeah, I think Sinead had a picture of someone's lunchbox, and we were just changing some of the items for the requesting. Yeah.
Right. But if Sinead wants to sort of have a one-to-one call with us, then we can certainly make sure that she's able to set it up in the way that works best for her. And if she's a Seen and Heard user, or if anybody else in the call is a Seen and Heard user, and you'd like to transition to Seen and Heard Pro, then let us know, and we can get you a free copy of Seen and Heard Pro as well.
Yeah. I did say to Sinead that your support is very, very good, and that I'm sure you would be very available to help. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Was there any other questions from anybody?
Can't see anything in the chat.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And the recording will be made available on the website. So great. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. And if anybody's interested in getting a free copy, then please do get in touch through Catherine, and we'd be very happy to do another call with anybody just for their teams, or if you've got any questions on it, we're here to help.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Right.
Bye.